want to be making 8 and 9 figure impact. Focus on becoming as effective as I possibly can at doing what I do. And all it is, it's a matter of having the right conversation with the right people for the right reasons.
Hey, welcome. My name is Joe Marcoux, and you are listening to the Cup of Joe Marcoux podcast show. I'm with somebody. Kevin Thompson is someone who I met through a relationship because I met someone through a relationship because I met someone through a relationship. Are you getting where this is going? And this guy, who I'm thrilled to have, has a podcast called $1 Million Relationships. He's also got a collective. I would still frame it as a mastermind, and yet he's got a collective. And what's great about it is that it's impact and legacy. We're going to go into this. I want to welcome to the Cup of Joe Marcoux podcast show, Kevin Thompson. Welcome to the show, my man.
Well, Joe, I am absolutely honored to be here, and I'm just, man, I love you. I love your energy. I love how you show up, and I'm looking forward to just having a great conversation today.
That's what the Cup of Joe is. Just sit back, and whether you're having a cup of coffee or some kind of vessel of water,
yes,
bringing our level 11 out of 10 energy to those that are listening. So, Kevin, you're what I would call a connector. And making connections for people is a critical component in sales. Where in God's name did you learn how to get this good at connecting people?
So Dan Sullivan and I had a conversation about this 22 years ago.
Okay.
When I first heard about his concept of unique ability. And this, a lot of it was unique ability, just God-given gift. That
right.
The part that is just God-given is I'm just this naturally curious guy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like with my wife, Lisa, it'll irk her sometimes because I ask questions all the time, or she'll have a conversation with the kids. And I'll be like, well, did you ask them about this? And she's like, no, I wouldn't even have thought to ask them about that. and I'm like, well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And now the entrepreneur part, though, I have found out I love talking with entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I love hearing what they're working on, what's got them jazzed and excited and inspired. I love hearing about their challenges and the problems. I love hearing about opportunities that they're trying to figure out how do I do this, And through running a publishing company for 12 years and just talking with, I did almost 600 strategic partnerships over those 12 years.
Wow. Okay.
And I ended up attracting partners to me rather than this whole thing of, hey, if you promote me to your audience kind of a thing. I never wanted to be that guy because there's so much of that goes on in that world. This you scratch my back, I scratch your back thing. And the end user gets lost in that kind of a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just wanted to be of value to people, especially the end user of whatever we do together.
Right.
And I found out through just having those partnership conversations that I had this gift of if I'm talking with somebody and they're telling me about whatever, they're telling me about an initiative that they're working on, they're telling me about a problem that they're dealing with, I just naturally default to, who do I know that might be able to help with this? And I can just, and I tell people that I do that and they're like, man, Kev, that makes my head hurt to think about trying to do that, because my brain doesn't work that way at all, and mine totally does. And a lot of this, over the years has become, I have just really focused on, I want to get, just continual improvement, getting better and better and more effective at doing what I do. Right. And that's just and there's a lot of nuances to it we figured out over the years, but part of it was already God-given gifts and abilities. And then the other part is just really focused on, I want to become the best in the world and class of one at doing what I do and stuff.
Which
and we've got there. Yeah.
So when you look at ILC, Impact and Legacy Collective, tell the listener what it is that makes it so special. I know what it is because I will say I'm a member. So like it is pretty special in your own words, because you're the founder, you're the creator, you're the curator of these people. What is it that the Impact and Legacy Collective, if you were to define it for people that have no clue, how would you define it?
Yeah. So a lot of people on the outside will think, oh, well, Kev, you run a mastermind group. And it's not really a mastermind. There's components of a mastermind to it, but it's not a mastermind. It's not even a networking group. What the ILC is it is the network of networks where high trust, high impact introductions lead to 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure opportunities for everybody. Yeah. And where the long game is 8 and 9-figure impact. I want to be making 8 and 9-figure impact, and it has nothing to do with revenue. Although, you know what, the bigger impact we make, the more revenue gets created. That just organically happens. Yeah.
Is it scary when you think, like, I hear those numbers, and I will fully admit I've worked in the 8-figure space, in the 9. I've worked for companies. I've helped companies in the 10-figure space. When I think about my business right now, and I hear, 9 figures, it scares the crap out of me.
Does it?
Oh, I'd be lying to you if it didn't. I'm sure, like, I deal with a lot of people that want to make 6 figures or 7 figures, and we help them do that.
Yeah.
I have companies that they're $1 billion. We deal with Aon Insurance. Mm-hmm. They're massive. I'm talking my own business, mind you, to get to that side. Like, it's daunting.
Yeah.
It's daunting. It's freaking me out.
So we should clarify, because I love it. I'm not looking at my business getting to 8 or 9 figures. I could give a rip, I don't give a damn.
What a great place to be, by the way. Like, and it's funny you mention that, because I just had a conversation with somebody today. I presented my offer. He needs us. He absolutely needs us. And I literally said, and I didn't even go in with tactics or approaches. I just, his name's Brian. And I just said, Brian, whatever you decide, I want you to know, totally okay with. I want to help you. I don't need your business. And to be that transparent, like, to truly, like, I'd love your business. I don't need it, man. Like, I want to help you. Yeah. And so, he got back to me within 5 minutes, and he's like, let's go. So great feeling for you to be there. So good for you, man.
So what I do,
we're going to talk about 8, 9 figures as I went on my tirade.
So the 8, 9-figure impact, I want to be making introductions that lead to 8 and 9-figure impact. Right. We regularly make introductions that lead to 5-figure, 6-figure, 7-figure deals all the time. Yeah.
Right on.
And I know, it's really interesting. I had a conversation with my friend Giovanni Marsico in, I think it was like May of last year. So May of 2024 at his event in Austin. He was doing a big event. And this was like, I've known Gio since before he ever started Archangel years ago and stuff.
Okay.
And so I've really watched him grow his business. And his last event, just a couple of months ago in Toronto, had 2,000 people in attendance, 2,000 entrepreneurs in attendance at Gio's event.
That's
pretty
huge.
Doggone awesome.
Yeah, that's okay.
And so last year in May, I had recently, like within the last couple of months, him and I hadn't talked in a while. So he was asking me, he's like, Kevin, what's the biggest win you've had recently?
Okay.
And I told him, I said, you know what? I said, I made a 7-figure introduction.
That's huge. That's huge.
And he's like, wow. He's like, that's really awesome. I was like, yeah. And here's the thing. These guys made 1.2 million in less than 4 months. and
That's
they did
sick.
it together, and they achieved that together, and neither one of them could have possibly done that on their own, but together, man, that was some horsepower, and I was like, I want to do more of that. And he's like, so Gio's like, well, so now that you're at this vantage point, what do you see now?
Right.
And I was like, Gio, I could definitely see me making 5 million, 6 million, maybe even $10 million introductions. And he chuckles at me and he's like, Kev, are you kidding me? He's like, you are going to be making introductions so much bigger than that. And as soon as he said that, like I said, I've known Gio for 14 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it was real. And I'm like, and I just sat there with that. And I'm like, you know what? He is totally right.
Yeah.
He is totally right.
Nice.
And I was like, that's the direction I want to go. And so I just made up my mind right then and there. I'm going to be making 8 and 9 figure impact. And I know what's required is I just keep doing what I'm already doing. Focus on becoming as effective as I possibly can at doing what I do, because I've already experienced how to do this. And all it's a matter of having the right conversation with the right people for the right reasons. That's what's going to cause that to happen.
And what's interesting is you're not taking tactics, although you're naturally gifted with it, because you're a quiz master, because you love to ask questions.
Yeah.
Questions are what drive a sale.
Yeah.
It's not, telling isn't selling. So what are you asking on repeat that get people to think? Because that's the structure of your process. Like, did you ever take any formal sales training? You must have.
Oh yeah, I've had sales training for sure.
Yeah,
some of the best, man.
Yeah, of course. So give me an example. So what are, because I already know some of the answers. Like, what are some of the people that you have learned from that are masters that you've been part of their group?
I've learned from you.
Well, okay, thank you. You're very kind. You've also been to like Joe Polish's events.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a machine.
Yeah.
Who did you meet in that circle?
So, Joe just happened to be my very first business connection ever when I started my very first business all the way back in 95. So that relationship is 30 years.
Yeah.
And so much has come from that. And I was in Genius Network for 12 years.
There you go.
And so I met a lot of people through that. Kevin Nations, I ended up meeting. I don't remember how I found out about Kevin Nations, but it would have been through other friends that I already knew.
Right. And you paid to play. This is the point that I want to make as well, is that you can make connections. The only way that you, Kevin, have all these rich relationships, and I say rich in terms of depth, in terms of the actual friendships, you still needed to pay to get into those rooms to meet those people. And this is where some people have a level of resistance. They have a hard time wrapping their heads around, hey, you mean I need to go and pay to be? And the answer is hell yeah.
Yes.
Because how do you think you're going to connect with the likes of, and we have mutual friends, Bedros Keuilian or Craig Ballantyne. You can't call these guys out of the blue. They're not just going to pick up rando. Joe Polish, good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah. Right. And it's the same thing. So what are some of the people that you've met that have helped you with sales?
Gosh. I have met, Kevin Nations. I've met, Jesse Elder, man, that guy, and he's got his whole, I love being sold by Jesse Elder. And I have been sold by Jesse Elder multiple times, and I'm just like, man, I got to have this.
Right. And it's interesting because if you listen to the way that you just said that, there's an emotional drive to that.
Yeah.
And so were you ever, when and I'm going to go and find his book, and it's there it is. We have a mutual friend. This is the guy who connected us.
Yeah. Yes.
So Majid like magic.
Yeah.
And of course I'll crush his last name, Magaraban.
Yes. That guy's pretty good at sales too.
He's pretty good at sales. Yeah.
Yeah.
I purchased his program. Were you in his program, or was he just somebody that you met?
No, I met, and I have to go back to look to see how we met. But when I was running the publishing business was when him and I got connected, and we did a strategic partnership together. And afterwards he was like, Kevin, that was the easiest money I have ever made in my life. I want to do more. I want to start doing what you're doing.
Right on.
And so we started applying that to his business.
It makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. And that's exactly it. I mean, so there's sales, whether you want to, one-to-one, one-to-many, be able to have a signature speech and then be able to get in front of people. So I show this book because you did something that was pretty interesting. And I want to take the moment to say thank you. Because I got this in the mail last week. And I knew you were coming on the podcast. So I said, I'm going to wait and do this live, so to speak. The box comes out. I get this box, and it's beautiful. And I open and the front of the box says giftology. It's embossed in there. It's just beautiful. So I open this up, and then there's a personalized card. Now, some of you may know that I use a couple of different services. One that's called Send Out Cards, another one that's called Mailbox Power, and I had a sense of what this was going to be. And I got this personalized message, and then inside this velvety box is this leather bag that says giftology. And inside that is this book, and it's the giftology book, which I had heard about and had never read. And it's the art and science of using gifts to cut through the noise, increase referrals, and strengthen client retention. So, Kevin, first of all, God bless you and thank you. This is awesome. Yeah. Second of all, how has this type of strategy made it has to have made such a difference in your business? Because you got me right here. You got me in the feels, bro.
Yeah.
So when did you start applying giftology to your business, and what has it done for you?
So I met John Rowland about 11, 12 years ago.
Okay.
At one of Jason Gaynard's Mastermind Talks events, the one that he hosted that was down in Napa in California. Okay. And
not a bad place to be if you're a wine
Not
fan.
a bad place.
Yeah.
And John and I became good friends over the years. And and when he found out what I did and that I was hosting events for entrepreneurs and stuff, he's like, Kevin, I want to start partnering with you, and I want to start sending copies of our book to your people and stuff. And so we started doing that kind of thing. And he passed away a little bit over a year ago and stuff.
I was not aware of that. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, he died of a heart attack, completely unexpected.
I am sorry to hear that, and my condolences to you, man. And again, thank you for this. It means
yeah. And, but him and I had been doing some really cool stuff together, and they do a lot of different things that you can do different, like just very unique gifts. So they got this, they have this artist guy who will create these, unique, like, not really like an artifact mug, but you have to know a bunch of stuff about the person in order for the artist to do their thing,
Right.
And so some of the stuff I would already know about the people, and other stuff I would have to get in touch with their spouses in order to find out, so that I can even do this. But we started doing this, and then when he makes this mug, he also prepares a video that walks you through it, and it is the most amazing thing ever. And everybody that I've ever given one of these mugs to, it's like the experience with the book that you just shared, and they're like, I had one guy tell me, he's like, what, Kevin said, people give me gifts all the time. And he's like, they give extravagant gifts.
Sure.
But he's like, it always comes with strings. They give me gifts because they want something.
Sure.
And he's like, and this gift from you, he's like, I cannot remember the last time somebody gave me a gift just because they appreciated me.
That's awesome.
And so, and what's interesting, John passed away in August of last year. So it's been about 14 months since he passed away. I never knew his partner, Rod, before. But I've had the opportunity to get to know Rod now.
Okay.
And so Rod and I have picked up where John and I.
Oh, good for you.
Which is so cool.
Good for you, man.
And their company is just really going through this amazing metamorphosis right now. And man, their message is about to blow up.
And John Ruland's name lives on. That's the beauty of this.
Yes.
Good for you.
And so, this whole thing of this is just yet another way to honor the relationships in our life that matter to us, and we don't do it with strings. We don't do it with, if I give, then I'm going to get. We do it just to give,
Such a huge lesson, man. And again, Kevin, it's I didn't expect it. I was already in the collective, and very thrilled to be, quite honestly, to be let in, because you have a filtering process. Like, not anybody can be a part of ILC. That's clear.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that the beauty of this gift, it reminds me of just as an example, and I won't name names out of respect of this person because they're a client now. As I was going through this courting phase with a client, this one guy, I take him out for lunch. A couple people are there, and I just notice that he takes the pepper shaker and he takes the lid off and he pours pepper on his meal, and he just looks at me and he goes,
"My kind of guy, that's me, man."
Okay. So he says, "I love pepper." And I'm like, okay, just mental note. That's it. A couple weeks go by and I remember, oh yeah, Mike likes pepper. So we're going back, and I gifted him a custom engraved, I did this through Mailbox Power, and I said, "This is Mike's pepper mill." And I put his company logo on it, and I put my company logo on it. Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's cool.
I know that he loves pepper, right?
Yeah.
He receives it. I forget about it. He was over the moon about this thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, so now he's got his custom dojo pepper mill, and it's Mike's. Like it's all about Mike. Like, my logo is like tiny. I mean, it's all about Mike. And even then, the response in all of this is that I could have removed the logo, because it was all about Mike. And I'm coming clean here by saying that.
Yeah.
Like, you sent me the note, the book, it doesn't have your name on it.
Yeah.
I'll always remember it came from you. And
and Mike's always going to remember where that pepper mill came
from. 100%, regardless of whether there's a logo on it or not, for sure. Yeah. Say it was a card and a gift, and it's the power of these things in terms of our relationships. So I love it, man. When did you start ILC? How long's it been now?
So we started an initial group in 2020. I've been doing groups, like in-person events, since 2017. And there's been iterations of this. And then, I was doing a lot of in-person stuff. Then when COVID hit, is when I started focusing on doing stuff on Zoom and stuff. And I started an initial group called the Tribe for Leaders in March of 2020. We grew it to 52 members in just 2 months, March and April. I ended up capping it because I'm like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. But I knew I wanted to make introductions for them.
Yes.
And it took some while to just really figure out a flow with it. And it was in September of 2022. So we're talking 2.5 years, almost 3 years. It took until one of the members, Misty Lown, she announced on her group call that she had just added $1 million of revenue to her business in the previous 30 days after talking with this guy, Richard, that I'd introduced her to.
Nice.
I was like, wow. I'm like, Misty, I don't want to take up all the time on the call, but can you and I talk one-on-one? Because I definitely want to get all the details. How did this unfold and all that?
Yes.
And so it was through that process. That's when I figured out that of all the 52 entrepreneurs that I'm serving in this group, I loved them all because they're great entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
But there was only like 5 of them that had the foundational things in place in order to even be able to have a win like the one that we had. And I was like, you know what? That's who I'm most valuable to right there. Right. I'm most valuable to the Misties of this world. And so that's when I made the decision, you know what? I'm going to continue running this group till the end of the year. I'm going to continue to support you guys, but this is the direction I'm going in now. January of 2023, this is the direction we're going in. If that's in alignment for you, then we can have a conversation and keep going. And if not, if you're not there yet, totally cool. Whenever it makes sense for us to reconnect, you can reach out to me anytime you want. You know?
Yeah.
And getting that clarity on who I could serve and then sticking to that, and just because it does not make sense to invite anybody into the ILC who does not have these certain things in place already.
Yeah.
You know,
fair enough.
And they've got to show up a certain way. They've got, every entrepreneur is already using their business as the vehicle to make their biggest impact.
Yeah.
All of you are the most giving, generous people ever. You show up all the time, ready to help, to serve, to contribute, to pour into others. That's hardwired into your DNA. Joe, you couldn't show up any other way.
Thank you.
When you couple all of these things, and the other piece, it doesn't do any good for me to make introductions for somebody and put them in touch with their ideal client if once they're there, they're not already know how to communicate their value and turn that prospect into a client. If they can't already do that, I'm useless to them. And so they've got to already have that piece in place too,
Yeah.
They've got to have that piece already ironed out and logged in,
You're doing, again, Kevin, you're doing amazing work, and you've had to clearly get yourself in a position where you look at the proverbial Rolodex, and I mean, dude, so many people. How many countless live events and hands have you shaken over the years?
I don't know. A lot.
Right? I mean, it's crazy. And the thing is that
7 figures putting myself in rooms. I know.
See, let's just pause. You've invested 7 figures to be able to go into rooms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How many other people do you know now? Obviously, you know a lot of people that have done it. Globally, however, how many people would do it?
I don't know. I had a conversation with Perry Marshall one time years ago when he asked me, how much did you invest in going to mastermind groups and stuff last year? And I was like, it was over 200,000. And he was like, 200,000. He's like, Kevin, he's like, I don't know anybody else who invests at that level. And I threw out a couple names. He's like, no, I don't think so. He's like, I think they get comped to a lot.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't think they're having to invest in all of that. He's like, they get comped too. And I'm like, yeah, you might be right. And so I don't know. I mean, I know there are other people that invest at that level for sure. And, but I will tell you that for me, I would not have the relationships that I have, the kind and the caliber of relationships where my buddy Isaac, when several years ago, when he first referred to me, he's like, Kevin, he's like, you're one of only 2 people that hold the spot that you do in my life. And he's like, you are my conduit of trust. And when he said
that's
that,
I'm like, huge thing.
That was
conduit
huge.
Of trust.
Yeah. And that's when I realized I'm not a connector. I mean, a lot of people were, and I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
But really, my role
It's deeper
is
than
to
that.
be the conduit of trust for the entrepreneurs.
That's awesome.
No.
Good for you, Kevin. I appreciate what you're doing. It's absolutely awesome. I want to shift gears real quick. Because again, I value your time. You're a busy guy. You got a lot on the go. So with roughly, 8 to 10 minutes left, when Kevin Thompson is not being the conduit of trust for people, and he turns his ILC hat or switch off, and he turns the $1 Million Relationships podcast off, and the lights are off, what does Kevin love to do for fun?
So I am a husband who my wife Lisa and I just celebrated our 20th anniversary last August.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
I am father to 7 kids, grandpa to 6 currently, and 1 more on the way. That'll be
right on.
March.
Congrats.
And so, I love doing stuff with my kids, whether we are going camping. My son Adam is like totally into hunting and stuff.
Nice.
And my
do you go with him? Like, you guys go hunt together?
I'm not a big hunter.
Fair.
But I'm definitely into camping. I'm totally into going camping and stuff.
Nice.
I love doing that. I love hanging out with my boys. I've got 2 older boys and my younger son, Brock. There's a 20-year age gap between them, between Brock and so for much of his life, for Brock growing up, his brothers were so much older than him that he just didn't relate.
Sure.
But now, Brock's 17 and the older boys are, well, that puts them at like 37 and 39.
Yeah.
And like now it's cool. Now it's way cool to hang out with the 3 of them and just watch them rib each other and stuff. And Brock's taller than both of his older brothers.
Oh, is that right? Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we have a family foundation that we started in 2008, and we've done a lot of cool stuff over the years through our family foundation. And we've got this orphanage down in Jamaica that we've supported, and we go down there and we go visit. And I'll tell you what, when you take your kids to an orphanage in Jamaica, you don't have to say anything to them, but they come to the conclusion all on their own that like, wow, you know what? We have it really, really good, and just giving them that experience. And so we've taken the kids as friends from school on trips like that with us and stuff, and when the kids want to go, their parents are like, well, how much is it? And I'm like, I was like, we got it. We'll cover it. We'll just take them along with us. But I was like, you know what? You're going to have a really cool conversation with your son when we get back from this trip, because he's going to have an experience for sure.
No doubt.
And I just love doing stuff like that with the family. And I mean, and I love just hanging out with I don't not have a single client that is not also just a great friend.
That's great, man.
And I'm just like, I just get to hang out and just hang out doing cool stuff with my friends, and whether it's friends and family or both, you can bring them together, because I'll host stuff here at the house and clients will come over and my family will be here too. And like, man, I love that. I love getting my clients to meet my family and my kids and all that,
What part of all of this, because I'm listening to the passion that you've got behind this, and the values that you bring to your family and the foundation, it begs the question, like, what role does faith and belief have in your life, whether it's business or family or both?
Man, it's a huge part of all of that. So, it's interesting. There was this DVD series that came out about 21 years ago called The Blessed Life.
Okay.
And it was by this guy, Pastor Robert Morris. And like, I was raised in the church,
Yeah.
But I had never heard tithing explained the way that he explained it.
Okay.
And when I heard that, I almost felt like, I mean, our church had hosted, it was a 4-part series. And so like, it was like, I don't know, Tuesday through Friday night or a Monday through Thursday, 4 nights in a row. We went to church and it was like maybe like an hour and 15 minutes for each episode, you know?
Okay.
And so my wife couldn't go, but we both couldn't go because one of us had to stay and watch the kids at home and stuff. So she's like, well, honey, why don't you go to it? And I'll just stay home. And so I drove up to church, which was a half hour away from where we lived at the time, and watched this series for the 4 nights. And I remember just coming home each night, like dang near in tears. And a couple of times I was, because I'm like, man, I did not get this. I did not get this. And in the way he explained it and the stories that he told, I was like, man, I want that going on in my life.
Good for you.
I want to have that happen. I want to be having that experiences like that. I want to be able to cause that. And, you know, and, you know, the way he talked about it is that, you know, tithing isn't an obligation, you know, it's not something we're supposed to feel obligated to do. It's this whole thing that God just wants our heart, man. And the way he gets our heart is by getting our finances. And all he says is 10% of this is mine. And he's like, you just give me the 10% and I'm going to bless your other 90%. So you got the option. You know, you can give the 10% and have the other 90% be blessed, or you just keep 100 of it and then it's not so much blessed, you know?
Right.
And as soon as I heard that and just heard all these stories and experiences that he shared, I was like, man, I want that. I was like, I'm going to start tithing. And then that there's tithing, and then there's giving, which is over and above the tithe. Right. And then there's even extravagant giving, where he shared a couple of examples where they gave it all, everything, homes, vehicles, were like left with nothing left. And yet within a couple of months later, they were right back doing it. Just
unbelievable,
you know? Yeah. And so I've looked at all of this and I'm like, you know, I can assure you, I would not be sitting right here, right now, doing what I'm doing, interacting with the people that I get to interact with and all that. If I just, you know, not only do I want to become as effective as I can at doing what I do, I just want to be a good steward. I want to be a good steward of the relationships. I want to be a good steward of the finances that I have control over, you know, and like, you know, and at this point, more revenue, that is not what inspires me to do what I do. You know, more revenue is not going to change things. We're already living good. More revenue, well, it is going to change things. Maybe not for me personally. I'm going to make a bigger impact is what I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to make, and that's what jazzes me is I just want to make an impact, and I just want to hang out with people I like hanging out with and doing stuff together that none of us could do on our own. You know,
Kevin, I can't think of a better spot to just go right here. This has been the Cup of Joe Marcoux podcast. This has been absolutely awesome. If people want to connect with you, Kevin, and they want to find out, and I'm going to make sure that we get them in the show notes and everything else. If they're listening right now and they're curious to find out about ILC and listening to, I mean, obviously $1 Million Relationship Podcast, they can find it. Specifically ILC, if they're curious to find out more, if they could qualify to get into these very intimate rooms, and I'm going to call them intimate rooms because I'm a member, to be able to connect with people who have a purpose, who want to relate, who want to help each other out and give, and by the way, and have a level of faith. And I'm digging more into that myself, by the way. So it's great to speak to you about it because you're a living embodiment, Kevin, and it's inspiring. So where can people find out more about you and how they can connect with you?
So I am on LinkedIn, and like that.
Perfect.
But I don't know my profile. I don't know how to find. And there's a bunch of Kevin Thompsons that are attorneys and actors, and
I'll put the link in the profile in the show notes. Kevin's going to email me all of his links, and I'll make sure it's the right. You get linked with the right Kevin Thompson. Awesome.
On Facebook, I'm Kevin the Connector, so it's easy to find me on Facebook.
Perfect.
Stuff.
Perfect.
So, but, you know, I mean, and I am totally happy to talk with anybody about ILC, but here's what I would actually suggest.
Yeah, do it.
The $1 Million Relationships podcast. Go check that out. You can find it on Apple or Spotify or what have you. Go check out a couple episodes. And what I'm going to suggest is if that resonates, hit me up and
Yeah.
let's just start by doing an interview for the podcast.
How many interviews have you done, Kevin? This is going to blow people away.
330 some.
Yeah, just 330 some. It's like almost a year's worth of interviews if you did one a day. Like, Kevin, that's a huge body of work.
I'll tell you,
it's inspiring.
It's been the most impactful and rewarding thing I've done in my 30 years as an entrepreneur is hosting that podcast.
It's awesome.
And it just continues to just attract amazing entrepreneurs into my life that I would have never got to meet if not for hosting that podcast.
So there you have it.
Yeah.
Go and have a listen. It is a great show. And again, I want to say thank you, Kevin, for this beautiful gift. More importantly, thank you for the gift of friendship. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, look up Kevin, check out his podcast, and stay tuned for the next Cup of Joe Marcoux. Talk to you soon. Thanks.